like you and me. Welcome home, LA. We're all in this together. It's KBLA Talk 1580, broadcasting from the heart of LA's Leimert Park. We've got a lot to talk about.
You can't do it unless you believe that you can do it.
The blackness. Keep on. Never say die. Never say die. Keep on. Never say die.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. You're listening to You've Got to Be Hungry with Les Brown exclusively all month long on KBLA Talk 1580. Les Brown continues his month-long radio residency, and we are delighted to have you with us in this hour. I'm Tavis, Smiley, your moderator, helping Les Brown move through this hour. It's been my great delight, my great joy every weekday this month so far. And we'll do it through the last day of this month, Tuesday, February the 28th. Will be the last master class taught by this world-renowned motivator, Les Brown. But it's been my great delight, my great joy to sit here every day and to imbibe this conversation and this richness just as you are, wherever you are listening right now, every single day on KBLA Talk 1580 this month. It is Love Day. It's Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day to you. Happy Love Day to you. We've been playing some great love music all today through this program, and you'll get some more great music in this hour as we sit back and listen and get our smart devices ready, or our pens and paper ready. I'm old school to take notes in this master class being taught by the one and only Les Brown. Today's theme, given that it's Love Day, is this: do what you love, stay focused. Do what you love, stay focused. I yield now to the gentleman from Liberty City in Miami, Florida, Les Brown.
Thank you very much. And before y'all finish, make sure y'all play Midnight Train to Georgia, okay?
Made note. for those who don't know or do not recall, Les Brown was once married to the inimitable the empress of R&B, Gladys Knight. And so we hear Les Brown's request, and we'll get that on right away. Gladys Knight, none better than Gladys. Les Brown will do that for you, sir. It's all yours.
Thank you, my brother. Okay. Listen, the interview that you have with Reverend Jackie Lewis is very, very important in terms of our loving ourselves. Remember that part of what the slave owners did when they gave us the opportunity to learn how to read and taught us scripture, they said that God put a curse on Cain, and the curse was blackness. And then they used Paul to say to slaves, obey your master. I remember my next door neighbor, John Henry, and he was 16, I was 12. And he took me out, and he had stole his father's gun, and he shot a tree. And he looked at me, and he said to me, as he was teaching me how to shoot a gun, he said, "This gun will kill a nigger." Now, I'm 77. This is during extreme racism. This is during the time where the Klan was very strong, very powerful. This is the time that I remember as a kid, there was a horn blowing, and my mother pulled the blinds down and said, "Come in the room." And I ran into another room to look out to see, why did she tell us to do that? And a car was driving very slowly with a black guy that was tied to the front of it, and the lights were blinking. He had been tarred and feathered. And they were warning us that if you register to vote, this will happen to you. You'll be tarred and feathered. And they taught us in school to this day to hate ourselves. So what she's saying is so very, very true. And there's something that I want to focus on today. And my special person today is Kenneth J. Chenault, who was the president of American Express for 17 years. And he said something that I love very much. He said, America, because of its racist commitment to racism, would rather waste our greatness and our genius than give us an opportunity. Everything we get, power concedes nothing without a demand, so said Frederick Douglass. Everything we get, we will have to fight for. And part of loving yourself is the willingness to fight for what you deserve rather than go through life as a victim and just allow people to trample over you. And so as we look at his life and his career, he was not a good student, and they said because he only studied things that he was interested in. Okay? And so I'm saying to people, what are you interested in? What is it that you love? But something else that we learned from him, because it's not just reflecting on what he accomplished, but how did he get there? Stay focused. Make it work for you. Look for ways that anybody that's doing what it is you want to do, that you can find ways to do it 10 times better, if not more. That's what we have to do. And something else he said, you got to be adaptable. When you look at the flexibility and the range and the capacity of technology right now, I saw a video today where they had a mechanized device operated by a computer cleaning restrooms. Even janitors are not safe. People who work in fast food restaurants are not safe. So that means that we have to continuously grow. We got to focus on doing things that we love, and we must be adaptable. We must be willing to adapt to the environment where we are and to the situations that we are facing, because we will always be faced with them. One of the other things that he said that's real, he said, if we had access, we would never have to have help. Yeah. How do you deny people access from participating in the economy and think that they're just going to starve to death? It was Robert Kennedy who said, if we cannot help the many that are poor, we truly cannot save the few that are rich. Because it's going to cost you. And it is costing America every day, but yet and still, because racism is the DNA of this country, we have to continuously fight for everything that we get. He admired Nelson Mandela. He said, I believe in decisiveness. Critical adaptability is very important. And he said what he loved about Nelson Mandela was that he never renounced violence, because he said sometimes it's necessary. He said, frankly speaking, I believe he was a visionary, but he was also practical. And we have to be practical as we begin to look at the things that we must do, who we must be in order to achieve the goals that we want to achieve. Focusing on people who have made it happen. Something else that he said that I think is very important. He said many people don't focus enough on execution. If you want to make a commitment to get something done, you need to follow through on that commitment. Persist until you succeed. What would you like to ask me, sir?
I have a whole hour of stuff to ask you, and it's going to be a good hour. I can see right now. It's Love Day, and we're celebrating all things love. But there's so much that Les has already teed up that we need to interrogate over the course of this hour. You're listening to You've Got to Be Hungry with the motivator, Les Brown, once married to the Empress of Soul, Gladys Knight.
Not so long ago, he's leaving on that midnight train to Georgia. Yeah, said he's going back to a simpler place and time. Oh yes, he is. I'll be with him on that midnight train to Georgia. I'd rather live in his world than live without him in mine. He kept dreaming.
We've got a lot to talk about. Good thing we've got 3 hours. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
Are you a business owner, freelancer, or filing taxes for the first time? Are you tired of dodging the IRS? Stop what you're doing now. Mac Tax Solutions, the father and son dynamic duo tax team, is the most sought-out tax business around. Mac Tax Solutions guarantees 100% maximum refund and free consultation. Call now, 562-715-9945. That's 562-715-9945. Or visit MacTaxSolutions.com. IRS or California FTB notices. Free e-file remote tax services with free secure tax dome portal. A $40 gift card will be included when you file. Call now, 562-715-9945. 562-715-9945. Staying on track with all required documents will help you reach your personal and financial goals. Prevent paycheck garnishments. Mac Tax Solutions will even provide all tax programs that your business could be eligible for. Now is the time to make your business work for you. Call now, 562-715-9945. Be sure to download the KBLA app. Tell all your friends and families it's time for a fresh tax start. Call now, 562-715-9945, or visit the website at MacTaxSolutions.com. Call now, 562-715-9945.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, Maisha Cairo here, KBLA, live at Chase Bank on Crenshaw and Vernon for the In This Together tour with female business owners, a day of empowerment, community panels, and best of all, tips on building business from marketing to capital. Today I spoke with Tatiana, a community manager for JP Morgan Chase.
Thank you so much. Yes, my name is Tatiana Roberts. I am a community manager for JP Morgan Chase. I have to honestly say that this has been the most fulfilling position that I've ever had, where I get to give back to the community because I saw my mom's struggles. That's really what fuels what I do to make sure that the community has all the access to the resources that my mother didn't have.
So for the mother who's in business, what are 3 quick tips you can give to ensure that they're on the right path to accessing financial support from a bank like Chase?
Say number 1, just make sure that you're checking your credit on a consistent basis and taking action to either fix your credit, maintain your credit, or rebuild your credit. The second thing would be budget. I know that B word is kind of like ugly for, right? A lot of people don't like that B word, but it has to be done. We need to tell our money where to go. The last thing is to build a network of supporters that are going to lift you up.
The community building here in Crenshaw is that network. So visit the Chase Community Center on Crenshaw and Vernon. Meet a banker today. Tell them about your business. I'm Maisha Cairo in the community for KBLA with JP Morgan Chase.
Less BS per broadcast. Fewer microaggressions per megawatt. KBLA Talk 1580.
Since I met you, I've begun to feel so strange.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. You're listening to You've Got to Be Hungry with the motivator, Les Brown. Today's theme on Love Day is do what you love. Stay focused. Do what you love. Stay focused. We continue our conversation now with the world-renowned motivator, Les Brown, who's continuing every day this month through Tuesday, the 28th of February. His radio residency only heard on KBLA Talk 1580. Let me say right quick, Les, before I get back into your master class today, we played Gladys, of course, Midnight Train to Georgia, and I was just watching the other night Claudine, one of my favorite old black films, watching Claudine the other night, and you almost forget how deep Gladys's corpus is. Her body of work is massive, and it's monumental. And when I was watching Claudine the other night, I'd almost forgotten all the songs that Gladys did for that soundtrack for Claudine. And, she killed it. It was an amazing film, but made all the better, all the richer by Gladys Knight's voice on the soundtrack of Claudine. So if you haven't seen Claudine lately, it's Black History Month. Go watch a black film, right? Check out Claudine, but listen as you're watching to Gladys on that soundtrack. For the film Claudine. A great piece of work from James Earl Jones and Diane Carroll with Gladys Knight doing the sound. You can't go wrong with James Earl Jones, Diane Carroll, and Gladys Knight. Great film, great soundtrack. I'll leave it for there. Just wanted to mention that since I was watching it literally just the other night. That said, back to Les Brown, who was once married to Gladys Knight. That's why I raised that. Do what you love and stay focused. You said a few things already, Les Brown, that I want to interrogate with you for the rest of this hour. Let me start with this. You were talking about doing what you love and going after what you deserve. I was reading a piece not long ago, in fact, that challenged that notion of getting in life what we deserve. And you're the motivator, so let me put it directly to you. In life, do we get what we deserve or do we get what we negotiate? I was reading a piece, of course, in a business magazine, but they were like, in life, you never get what you deserve. You get what you negotiate, and you can define the word negotiate in a variety of ways. You take my point. Talk to me about that distinction, Les, as you see it, getting what you deserve versus what you negotiate.
I believe that if you're in a place and you're dependent upon someone to give you what you deserve and they choose not to do it, then you have the opportunity to create something that will allow you to compensate yourself at the level of your deservingness. It doesn't stop there. Nobody controls your destiny. And we're talking about Kenneth J. Chenault, who became the CEO and the president for 17 years of American Express. And one of the things that he said, when you want something, he said, you got to be willing to do everything in your power to make it happen. And part of that, and this goes back to what Reverend Jackie Lewis talked about, is our loving ourselves. He was an activist. Love is an action, or it shows up in your actions. And he fought against racism at Springfield College, and he was among 3 students that were arrested, and later they had their records expunged. So part of self-love is the willingness, like KBLA, the willingness to do things that will begin to amplify in our own minds and the minds of others, how we hold ourselves to a higher standard. It reduces the kinds of choices that we make. When you love yourself, you don't choose drugs. When you love yourself, you don't choose to kill people. When you love yourself, you don't choose to live a life of mediocrity. You want to live a life that will outlive you.
Les, when you use this phrase, as you've done a few times over the last few weeks in this master class you're teaching, when you say hold yourself to a higher standard, I haven't thought I needed to interrogate that, and perhaps I don't. But because you said it so many times, it's ringing in my ears. When you say hold yourself to a higher standard, by that you mean what?
When I was working in radio at WVKO in Columbus, Ohio, I was hired to become a disc jockey. But I had the ability to do more. And so I became the program director. I became the music director. I became the production director. I knew how to produce commercials. And I also sold time on the air. They paid me the same salary. But because of my willingness to do more than what I was paid for, And the other disc jockey said, "Man, you are crazy for doing this. Why would you work like this for Skyway Broadcasting?" I wasn't working like that for Skyway Broadcasting. I was working like that for myself.
Yes.
I had the first talk show in Columbus, Ohio, on WVKO called Voice of the People. But because of that skill set, the greatest among you will be your servant. Because of my willingness to do things that I did not know, learn things and develop skills that I did not have. When they fired me, I had choices because I was able to hire myself.
I love it. I love it. I love it. You also said in this hour already, I mean, today's it's a rich conversation already, and I want to just go a little deeper here. You referenced this notion earlier of loving what you do and staying focused. And as you were talking, my mind went to those persons who are listening right now who are attempting to do what they love. They're doing their best to stay focused. And part of what they're wrestling with is that there's nobody in the particular field that they are pursuing, nobody black, that is, that they can see as role models. We were just talking on this program the other day about yesterday, in fact, about African-American first, talking with Harvard professor Khalil Gibran Muhammad about this notion of African-American first and why we still have to endure the condemnation of our blackness. And Jesse Jackson always makes the point that Jackie Roosevelt Robinson wasn't the first Negro who could play baseball with the white boys. He's the first one they gave the opportunity. So Jackie Robinson integrates baseball, but when Jackie got there were no role models. There are still so many African-American firsts that we're experiencing, even in the month of February alone. As we discussed yesterday, there's so many African-Americans who are achieving things for the first time. So if you happen to be in a field or you're pursuing a particular thing that you love and you're staying focused on it, but part of that you're being challenged by is that there's nobody black in that particular space that you can see as a role model or a race model, but you're trudging ahead anyway to that person, lest you say what specifically?
Well, first of all, you asked the right person for that question.
That's why I asked it. Exactly.
When I started in the area of motivational speaking, there was nobody like me. Mm-hmm. There was Zig Ziglar. Mm-hmm. There was Dr. Norman Vincent Peale. There was Wayne Dyer. There's nobody that looked like me. But I had a coach, and sometimes you need to have somebody in your life, as I said the other day, that believes in you until you believe in yourself. And so Mike Williams, who wrote the book, The Road to Your Best Stuff, he said, "Brownie, those guys ain't got nothing on you." And because I was doing what I love, I believed what he said, and I put my hat in the game, and I started working. And I'm the first African-American to win the Golden Gavel Award from Toastmasters, the first to win the CPAE Award from the National Speakers Association, the first to be selected among the top 5 speakers in the world. What's most important is look at an area where you want to go and say to yourself, as Magic Johnson said, when it was Shaquille O'Neal, when the first time that he saw his idol in basketball, and he said, "I want that." Mm-hmm. That decide, no matter who's in there, whether they look like you or not, decide, "I want that. I'm going to do that." He looked at Dr. J, and he said, "I want that." And I looked at what was happening in the speaking arena and people who were just speaking to give information, but not creating an experience with an audience that will distract, dispute, and inspire, that will expand their vision of themselves, that will dismantle their current belief system and inspire them to have the courage to turn the page and start creating a new chapter in their lives. I said, I want that, and I'm going to dominate that.
And so he has. When we come forward after news and traffic and sports, there are a number of things that Les has put his finger on that we want to unpack, including this notion of commitment, including the notion of follow-through, including the notion of being decisive, including the notion of being adaptable. So much more to talk about in this hour. The subject today, the theme today is do what you love on Love Day. Stay focused. You're listening to You Gotta Be Hungry with the motivator Les Brown, exclusively all month long on KBLA Talk 1580.
safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Esther Dillard, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Millions in federal dollars will be used to help preserve Maryland's Black history. Senators Ben Cardin and Chris Van Hollen joined Congressman Kwasi Mfume to announce more than $2.25 million for restoring the historic Upton Mansion. This will serve as the permanent home for the Afro-American Newspapers Archives.
The Afro Archives is one of the strongest reserves of information about the African American community in our country.
No more gasoline-powered cars will be sold in the European Union. The European Parliament approved a law to ban the sale of new gasoline-powered cars beginning in 2035. And civil rights activist Rosalind Pope is dead at 84. Pope wrote a 1960 manifesto making significant changes for civil rights in the Atlanta, Georgia area. And that's the latest. I'm Esther Dillard from the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Still seeing that top in Mission Hills if you're heading eastbound on the 118. Approaching the 405, carpooling with a crash. We're loaded up from Reseda. Norwalk, still seeing that wreck on the 105 east at the 605. That has made it to the right shoulder. Mid-City or Santa Monica Freeway 10. Stalled vehicle here, 10 eastbound as you get towards Arlington. Second lane from the left is blocked. And we're loaded up from La Cienega Boulevard. Seeing that busy drive from Inglewood all the way up to Culver City. 405 north, there was a stalled vehicle around Jefferson. That's gone, but we're still busy as far back as the 105.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. I sell custom-made blinds, shades, and shutters that are easy to install at prices less than big box retailers. Blindster blinds are custom-made for your windows, and I guarantee they'll fit. Don't hire a pro. Do it yourself and save big at Blindster.com.
Is this the This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Lakers lose by 12 at Portland last night. 40 points for Portland's Damian Lillard. LeBron James was on the bench again. The Clippers are at home tonight against Golden State. All three of their new players will get some minutes. Guards Eric Gordon and Bones Highland and backup center Mason Plumlee. Rihanna's halftime performance in the Super Bowl drew 118.7 million viewers, the second highest of any Super Bowl halftime show. Katy Perry has the largest audience all time from her halftime show in 2015. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. This sports report was brought to you by Original Taco Pete.
Aaron from Original Taco Pete's here, inviting you to our newest location at 3272 West Slauson off Crenshaw for Taco Tuesday, only $175. Call 323-348-4441 to order.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Here at McKay's Family Mortuary, we offer a full line of services with a fine selection of caskets and urns. Also, assistance with cemeteries along with luxury limousine and funeral coaches and other needs pertaining to your family's wishes for your loved one. We accept Veterans Victim Witness Program for mortuary services only at zero cost to you. Cemetery selection does not apply. All insurances are accepted. McKay's Funeral Home understands that saying goodbye is never easy. That's why we've been providing compassionate and professional funeral services to the community for over a decade. Please contact McKay's Family Mortuary, serving Los Angeles, San Bernardino, and Riverside counties and the High Desert. 3918 Marine Avenue, Lawndale, California. 310-978-8877. That's 310-978-8877. By appointment only or log on to mckaysmortuaries.com. California is a great place to live and work, but those aren't easy things to do for students also going to college. That's why the state created the Californians for All College Corps, a way for students to build skills and help others while earning up to $10,000 for school. Commit to serve your community and we'll help you pay for college. Spots will fill up fast, so learn more and apply today at www.cacollegecorps.com. That's www.cacollegecorps.com.
KBLATalk1580.ps.com. California is a great place to live and work, but those aren't easy things to do for students also going to college. That's why the state created the Californians for All College Corps, a way for students to build skills and help others while earning up to $10,000 for school. Commit to serve your community and we'll help you pay for college. Spots will fill up fast, so learn more and apply today at www.cacollegecorps.com. That's www.cacollegecorps.com.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate loses and love wins. I'm Tavis, Smiley. This is KBLA Talk 1580. We celebrate Love Day, Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day. Happy Love Day to you. We've been playing some great music all 3 hours today. Some of the best love songs. You can't do justice to all the love that black people have put to music over the course of our contributions to this nation. But we giving you a pretty good sample, I think, over the last few hours of some great love songs. And again, you can't leave Prince off the list, right? So there you have it. You're listening to You Gotta Be Hungry with Les Brown, the world-renowned motivator. Today's theme is Do What You Love. Stay focused. A number of things to unpack with Les as we move through the rest of this hour. Let me pivot ever so gently, as we do usually about this time in every show, with Les to read a couple questions from listeners. If you go to our website at KBLA1580.com, you can click on the Ask Les icon. It'll take you to a page where you can send us your questions directly for Les Brown, or go to our app and use the open mic feature to record audibly your question for Les Brown. Here's a question, Les. Two questions, in fact, that are timely, and I'll link them together. We'll move on and get back to today's lesson. Do what you love. Stay focused. For you, Les Brown, what is more important, love or respect? And secondly, question I'm going to weave in as well, how is respect earned? So it's a personal question for you. What matters more, love or respect? And secondly, how, given what we're talking about today, doing what we love and staying focused, how is respect earned in that process?
Love and respect are Siamese twins. Period. Full stop. They're Siamese twins. No one can tell you they love you and not respect you. They're Siamese twins. You can't have one without the other. That's one thing. The other thing, in terms of respect, when you have a level of respect for yourself, that determines how people treat you. If you don't respect yourself, people will walk over you. And they don't have to ask you, do you respect yourself? They will know that by how you carry yourself. People who respect themselves, they don't tolerate and accept any way that somebody wants to treat them. They will be out of there quickly. And so it's not difficult. What is required, and I got this from Maya Angelou, she said, nothing is ever done without courage. When you respect yourself, you have the courage to walk away from relationships that's not you. You have the courage to walk away from a job where you're not appreciated and not valued. You have the courage to take a chance on you, to create a life that you envision for yourself out of that sense of respect. When you are in a situation of bondage, you have the courage to venture out and don't know where you're going. But you will do it anyhow because you just can't stay where you are. It's just below your standard.
Yeah. Dr. King used to always say that courage or faith is taking that next step up a dark stairwell
and just knowing and believing that that step is going to be there and it's going to hold you up. You're moving in the darkness, but you have to have the faith, the trust, the confidence, the courage to believe that it's going to be there for you when you get there. Let me link Maya's formulation to a word that you used earlier in today's lesson, Les, and that is decisiveness. Your example today is the life and legacy of one Ken Chenault, who is the brother that was the president and CEO of American Express, Amex, for 17 years. It is a difficult proposition. Let me just back up a second. Les knows this well. It's a difficult proposition to go into corporate America. I was going to say white corporate America. That's I don't need to. That's putting too much on it, right? Corporate America is white, so it's a challenge for African Americans to get into corporate America and to succeed at the highest levels. And every time I run into Ken Chenault or talk to him, as I have many times over the years, I'm always fascinated how this black man in the financial services sector, no less. Now, they'll let you do other things. They don't let you mess with money too much. But here's a black man in the financial services sector who made his way to the top of American Express, Amex, and led that company for 17 years, as you've heard Les say more than once in this conversation. So let's just pause for a second and think about that. How did the brother get in the door? How did he get to the top? And how did they let this Negro lead this company for 17 years? White men don't run corporate America for 17 years in one company. It just doesn't happen a whole lot that one person runs for that long. But a black man to lead one of the largest financial services sector companies in that industry space for 17 years is itself remarkable. And so he is the example that Les is using today about what it means to do what you love and to stay focused. But in this conversation, Les, you talked earlier, quoting Ken Chenault, that one of the things that we have to do is to learn how to be and be bold enough and courageous enough to be decisive. And I don't need to tell you, you're the motivator. You know more people than I do in terms of addressing this particular issue, but I know a whole lot of Negroes who would be a lot farther along. Some of them I work with. They'd be a lot farther along if they ever learned how to be decisive in their decision making. Take it away, Les Brown.
It's honoring your commitment to your commitment. But there's something else in addressing how did he do it. He said there was a strong focus on performance and respect for people. And one of the points that my father always made was that with all the challenges and obstacles and barriers, the one thing you can control is your performance. And that is one thing I have tried to adhere to throughout my career. We can control our performance. We can't control everything else. All those other things is going on. And when you make a decision to do something and you hold yourself to a higher standard, not doing just enough to get by. Most people, they work on jobs and they pay them just enough to keep them from quitting. And they agree to themselves and to the corporation, they will work just hard enough to keep from being fired. He made a decision that my performance will speak for itself. My performance will impact your bottom line. My performance will become so dominant, you will choose me to become the president and the CEO of this corporation.
Let's talk about this for a second, because now you got me going now, Les Brown. This notion of controlling our performance, I believe that. I've adhered to that, practiced that in my entire career, that I can control but one thing, and that is my performance when I show up. I was just talking to a couple of young folk that work with me the other day, and I was offering this example that I made up, but they took my point. It's like a brother who's been killing it for 13 years at Mike's Place After Dark, a little seedy club on that side of town, and they stand in line every night, Friday and Saturday, to hear this brother kill it at Mike's Place After Dark. He's been killing it there, lines wrapped around the corner. And one day he gets a chance to play on the stage at Carnegie Hall. And he gets to Carnegie Hall and he freezes. His performance it's just not there. It's like somebody training for the Olympics for 4 years and you get to the Olympics and you just fail miserably. All moments, I was saying to them the other day, Les, are not created equal. But the one thing you have to understand is when you get your moment, You have to control your performance, and you have to show up, because all these moments in your career are not created equal, but there are some moments where your performance has to be the end-all, be-all. You cannot fail in that particular space. What say you, Les Brown?
There are times in life you will choke. And you don't know when it's going to come. It will not be at a convenient time. It will not be with just a few people in the audience. Murphy's Law will show up.
Yes.
If anything can go wrong, it will, and at the worst possible moment. Remember Janet Jackson when she was in the Super Bowl and her bra came loose. Now, was it deliberate or an accident? But it cost her. It cost her. And so here's the key, though. It's not final. You got comeback power. Willie Jolly said a setback is a setup for a comeback. You have comeback power. You can get up off the canvas of life and come back again and again and again and go beyond what you were originally going to do, inspired by that moment that you choked, as I choked at the church in Detroit, Michigan, Dr. Charles Adams, and they asked me to pray. And all I could say was, thank you, Lord, so much for this morning. It set my behind down. And somebody said the devil had his tongue.
You're listening to You Gotta Be Hungry with Les Brown on KBLA Talk 1580.
Just release and you will find you're gonna fly away. Glad you're going my way. I love it when we're cruising together. The music is played for love. Cruising is made for love. I love it when we're cruising together. Baby,
Be sure to like and follow Tavis Smiley at The Real Tavis Smiley and get Twitter updates at Tavis Smiley. The conversation continues when we come forward. The Millionaires Roundtable with Lynn Richardson is creating millionaires one family, one day, $1, $1 at a time. KBLA Talk 1580 will be celebrating Black History Month Wealth with Lynn Richardson live on Wednesday, February 22nd at the Chase Community Center on Crenshaw and Vernon in Leimert Park. Come check out the space. This location has been a bank branch for over 44 years and is now a community center. It provides resources and education to help the community with money goals, home ownership, and entrepreneurship. You and a guest can win lunch with Lynn Richardson February 22nd. Go to KBLA1580.com or the KBLA 1580 mobile app today and register. See you there.
Our Weekly Los Angeles is the largest audited Black newspaper in the state of California with a distribution of over 50,000 copies weekly. Pick up a copy every Thursday to get the latest news on African American communities of LA. You can also keep up with what's going on in Los Angeles and surrounding cities by going to www.ourweekly.com. The Our Weekly website is updated daily with the current news about us and for us. For your advertising needs, Our Weekly offers economical advertising packages to fit your budget. Feel free to call Our Weekly Los Angeles at 323-905-1300 or visit the website at www.ourweekly.com. Our Weekly Los Angeles, reporting news that matters to you.
KBLA Talk 1580 is teaming up with LA County Justice Care and Opportunity Department, along with Supervisor Holly Mitchell, to bring you a healing space, well-being, creative expression, and connection as acts of resistance. This event will take place Sunday, February 19th from 12 to 4 p.m. at Irvin Magic Johnson Park, 905 East El Segundo Boulevard in Los Angeles. All are welcome, and it's absolutely free.
There will be mental health support, interactive art, an expungement clinic, kids programming, emotional support, animal services, writing workshops, health screenings, dance classes, and employment opportunities. Join us for healing circles, free food, and 3 DJs so you can dance all day long.
It's a healing space and so much more. Sunday, February 19th at Irvin Magic Johnson Park. For more info, visit jcod.lacounty.gov. Healing together with the LA County Justice Care and Opportunities Department, Supervisor Holly Mitchell, and KBLA Talk 1580.
Interrogating your assumptions and expanding your inventory of ideas. Let's get back to Tavis Smiley on KBLA Talk 1580.
search to find the love within. I came back to let you know, got a thing for you, and I can't let go.
Les Brown, I stepped out of the studio into the control room a moment ago, and I was teasing Miles and JD, my board op and my producer. These two young, brilliant, handsome brothers. I was teasing them. So I said, y'all want an A+ today. You don't want an A- or just an A. You don't want to be on the dean's list. you want an A+ today. I told them almost 3 hours ago, Les, I was going to grade them. I gave them the free reign today to let them play all the love music they wanted to play. And I wanted to see how varied their corpus was going to be. And I must tell you, these two young Negroes have shown out today. All the stuff they played, a variety. And every time they play something, I just start laughing like, how do y'all know about that song? So it's been kind of impressive. So I think Miles and JD get an A+ today for all the love songs they played throughout this 3-hour program. Watching my time here, you're listening to You Gotta Be Hungry with the world-renowned motivator, Les Brown, exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580. His radio residency, if I can say it, continues through the 28th of this month, every single weekday in the month of February. We are honored, humbled, and pleased to have this great motivator, Les Brown, only on this station, giving you what you need for 2023 and beyond every day. A few things.
I want to give you an
Sure.
example of adaptability.
Sure.
Those young men are doing a great job. When they played Midnight Train to Georgia, I thought about that.
Mm-hmm.
The original title was Midnight Plane to Houston. It was a country and western song. So one of the Pips, I think it was Bubba, said, "We don't live in Houston. We live in Georgia." And Gladys, she didn't like to fly. And she said, "Would you be willing to change plane to train?" And the guy said, "Would y'all still do it?" And they said yes. They changed it from Midnight Plane to Houston to Midnight Train to Georgia because they lived in Georgia and they didn't like to fly.
and
you got to be adaptable, my brother.
I get it. And the rest, as they say, is history. I was going to ask, there are 3 things I want to cover before we lose Les at the top of the hour. One of the things I wanted to ask was about adaptability. Check that off the list. He just gave us an example of what it means to be adaptable. But there are 2 other things I do want to get to. Commitment and follow-through. And we could spend an hour on either of those topics. But this notion of, we'll take them in the right order. First, commitment, and then follow-through. Talk to me about what it means to be committed to those things, Les, that we say we love, to be committed to being focused on those things that we love. Just talk to me briefly about what it means to truly be committed to your hopes and dreams and aspirations.
Many times when we talk to people and we ask them to do something, they say, "I'll try." And I will always ask them, try and sit down. Either you do or you don't.
That is hilarious. I'm going to use that one. Next time I hear "I'll try," I'm going to do like Les Brown, say, "Try and sit down." I love it, Les.
No, when you make a commitment, you're going to make it happen no matter what. You become a no matter what person. No matter the pushback, the failures, the disappointments, the rejection, all of those things empower you. They don't stop you because you're going to honor your commitment to yourself to get it done.
I'll try. How about you try and sit down? You're listening to You Got to Be Hungry with the motivator Les Brown on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where truth prevails. The tricky station is down the dial.
The Los Angeles Urban League and Parkside Economic Development Corporation are working to close the wealth gap between black and white households. B-Warp, the Black Wealth Attainment and Retention Program's free virtual workshops will help your family acquire, gain, maintain, and pass down legacy wealth. Learn from the experts about making more with what you have, the Black history of money, joining the Smart Investors Club, preserving your assets in tough times, crypto, cash in or cash out, the wealthy mind and body. Register for this free series that could change your financial future scripture at laul.org/BWAARP. Don't miss B-Warp, the Black Wealth Attainment and Retention Program, every second and fourth Thursday in February, March, and April at 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Register now at laul.org/BWAARP.
KBLA Talk 1580 is growing at a phenomenal pace, and we need to enlarge our territory. We are seeking smart, creative solution providers to join the KBLA delegation and go higher with us. If you or someone you know is interested in joining our team as a brand manager, go to our website at KBLA1580.com. Tap on employment opportunities and let us hear from you. We're not looking for everybody or just anybody, but you could be that special somebody. Come grow with us. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
Did you know that California has the first in the nation task force to study reparations for African Americans? The work of the task force is to examine and recommend to the state legislature potential remedies of compensation, rehabilitation, and restitution for African Americans, with a special consideration for the descendants of persons enslaved in the United States. The task force has been hosting public hearings across the state to create awareness and educate the public. Be part of history and join them for public comment from 9 to 10 a.m. on March 3rd and 4th in Sacramento at the next Reparations Task Force meeting. For more information, visit the California Department of Justice website at oag.ca.gov. That's oag.ca.gov. Or you can send them an email from the website. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Let's unpack a little bit more with Tavis Smiley. The conversation continues right now.
Got about 3 minutes left in this conversation with Les Brown. Today's lesson theme is do what you love. Stay focused on this love day. Do what you love and stay focused. Every day Les has been bringing it in this master class called You've Got to Be Hungry, exclusively here on KBLA Talk 1580. It seems to me, Les, this is an appropriate place to close today's lesson. And that is this notion that you broached earlier of follow-through. We just talked about being adaptable. We talked about being committed. And we close today with follow-through. And if there's anything that I could critique our own people on, is that we do not do a good enough job of following through on whatever the project might be. My grandmother, Big Mama, always put it to me this way. Big Mama said, baby, once a task you have first begun, never finish until it is done. Be the labor, great or small, do it well or not at all. That was her way of talking to me about follow-through. But what does Les Brown say? Never mind my Big Mama. What does the motivator say to black people about follow-through, Les Brown?
I agree with Big Mama. I love that poem, and it's real. And when you adhere to that, it's simple, it's practical, and it's profound. This is what life is about. Taking care of business. Nothing works unless we work. Commit thy works unto the Lord, and thy thoughts should be established. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path. So when we follow through doing the work that we must do, and don't look to the right and don't look to the left, and stay focused, and when we are versatile and adaptable, and when we embrace the reality that life is for loving, for living, and for laughing, and to always strive to get on top in life, because it's the bottom that's overcrowded.
Life is
behave.
Yeah, behave. Yeah, life is for loving, living, and laughing. And that first one, loving, is the theme of today. All day long, we're celebrating love here on KBLA Talk 1580, and today's theme has been do what you love, stay focused. You've been listening to the motivator, Les Brown, and his radio residency every day, weekdays here on KBLA Talk 1580. You've got to be hungry, and hope you enjoyed today's lesson. Les is back tomorrow to do it all over again. Les, until then, my friend, stay strong.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Jones Orchestra.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica,